Whoa. Welcome. Hey, everybody out there. How's it going? Yeah, it's nice to see a little bit of an audience here for Bugsnax, which is undoubtedly the game of the year of 2020. If you think otherwise, that's okay, but that's what I think, so we're gonna be rolling here. My name is Conception. I'm gonna be taking you all through the all bosses base game category of this. Base game is mentioned here because we also have a boss that we could have fought in the DLC, but we're not gonna be worrying about that for this run. I think we're just gonna get started. Time is a little strange here, so I'm going to, instead of a 3, 2, 1 go, I'm gonna kind of give you a ready, go, because it comes in on the load of the cutscene. So here we go. Ready? Go. All right, yeah, woo. All right, well, welcome to Air Bugsnax. This is your Captain Conception speaking, and we're going to be taking you through on a lovely flying ship here through Snacktooth Island. By the way, this run starts off immediately with a skip that saves about 3 minutes by going through and around, rather, one of the major cutscenes in the game. So we're going to walk on some of these trees and rocks and then walk on nothing, as it turns out. Head on over here, hop up, around, and voila, I just saved myself about 3 minutes in a cutscene. That's Philbo. We say hi, Philbo, and bye, Philbo. We're not going to worry about what he's up to because we're going to jump on these rocks. Oh, no. We're going to retry that. Hop back on the rocks. Take 2. You didn't see the first time. That's what we were supposed to do. And all of a sudden, we're in our next area. So that whole section probably saves about 5-6 minutes in terms of the quests and stuff that we could skip. Unfortunately, we're chilling up here in Garden Grove now. No matter what we do, we could get out of bounds. We could be jumping on trees and rocks all over the place. There's nothing I can do here to make it so I can accelerate this section beyond just doing the quests that are mentioned of me here. However, we do have a really cool little exploit that I'm going to try to see if we can get here. It's a bit of a tight cycle, but let's see if we can do it. First, I'm going to grab some ketchup and sling it like you do. Grab some more ketchup. We're going to hit this tree and that shishka bug from far away. I'm going to put this trap here specifically. There's no bug here. Let's see. Nope, didn't get it, but that's fine. Basically, we were trying to capture a Bugsnax through the ground there, but you don't want to waste too much time trying it, or else you get thrown off the entire cycle here, which we really don't want to do. So first, we're going to throw down that sauce there to get a Frighter to come down from the ceiling while we catch this bunger. I'm going to throw another trap because he's going to get scared. See if he will get reattracted to it. I might have put it too far away. Yeah, we're going to sneak it forward a little bit. Hit it with some more ketchup, and then he's going to be really interested now, because what does a fry love more than ketchup? Not much, right? Boom. Okay, so, and then one last bug stack we need to catch here. I'm going to be a little sneaky about it. We have to get a second shishka bug. We're going to have to come back and get it later. That is totally fine. All right, so first, we got Wambus here. Wambus is our little farmer character. He wants quite a bit of food. No worries, we're gonna hook him up with that. So we're gonna ignore that shishka bug. For some reason, if you catch a shishka bug before you start the quest, the one you caught respawns. So I'm just gonna catch the one I already caught. And then head back over to Wambus, and we're pretty much clear through this section. The rest of it is going to be, it's going to be more of like a tutorial section. We learn about our journal, we meet another character. Not really too much tech here. We're going to feed him the bunger, which, by the way, is my favorite bug snack. Shout outs to bungers, and if you're hungry like I am, I think there's going to be some cheeseburgers somewhere behind me, so feel free to enjoy some food later on. I know I certainly will be. Worth noting, I am playing on the PS5 version of this game. You can play this on any version of the game that you'd like. All of the tricks work on the Switch. They all work on the Xbox. They work on the PC versions. They're all the same. The main difference that makes PC ever so slightly more optimal is the fact that we can remove loads when we do it for the leaderboard, and the fact that we can bind mashing to the text, the mouse wheel on the mouse, which makes it way better than me having to just mash through all of this with my own thumb. But, you know, we do what we do.
See, you'll have.
All right. A little bit of a sloppy area, but that is all good because we're about to break this game wide open after this next section. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Bugsnax, Bugsnax is a game where you play as a journalist who is here on assignment to figure out what this island is, the island of Snacktooth, figure out what the deal with Bugsnax are, which are these cute little adorable creatures that are food and bugs at the same time, and then figure out what all of these people are doing here, kind of learn their story by interviewing them and doing their side quests and stuff like that. It's a really charming, endearing game, has a lot of lovely LGBTQIA2+ representation in this game if you were unfamiliar with that. So I highly suggest checking it out from a casual standpoint. And then, if you're interested in speedrunning it after that, I obviously would encourage that. And it's very accessible, so we'll be able to hook you up with some resources here. All of that to say, I just interviewed Philbo because that's part of my job, but now it's time to go out of bounds, I think. So the game wants us to head into this area, Simmering Springs, but I'm going to ignore that entirely. Head on over here. Jump across the river, and all of a sudden, I'm hitting a loading zone for a completely different area. This area is called Scorch Gorge, and ideally, we won't be here for very long because we're going to do yet another out of bounds to get us even further past the game. If I had to put a percentage marker on how far through the story we're at, we're probably like 20 or 30% here. While he's running over, I'm going to snack some sauce. That's very important.
Hello, the name's friend. Oh,
All right, and Cromdo's going to hook us up with a very valuable tool in our speedrunning arsenal here, which is the lunch pad. It's a launch pad, but it's lunch pad because everything is food-based here. And I'm going to do a trick. First try, let's go. And basically, the lunch pad is a very interesting trick, interesting tool because it launches things, and it tends to launch things the full arc if they're really light. Like a Bugsnax is very light in weight. However, if I stand on it, it's very heavy, and the trajectory gets cut in half. But we can manipulate the trap a little bit by basically triggering it the second that we run off of it, so that it gives us the full length of the launch without having to worry about it, the weight distribution, which is very valuable. We're now in, this is, Sizzling Sands is what it's called, which is about 70% through the game, believe it or not. But it isn't just as simple as we're going to be doing all of the main quests. This is the all bosses category, which means that we need to do some side quests in order to make it so that all of the boss fights are available to us. So I'm going to be doing some things that are a little bit out of order. I wouldn't necessarily do in an any percent run or a no major skips run, for example, but we still need to do them in order to make it so that we can fulfill the all bosses requirements. So first I'm gonna launch, I don't know why he went up straight up in the air like that, trying to ruin my route here. Get over here, come on, come on. Yeah, this is a loaded sweet potato, by the way. Again, if you're hungry, I'm sorry, because there's a lot of delicious, delectable looking food over here, so. Come on, buddy. All right, here we go. Launch him so that he breaks that ground, which is important. And then I need to catch the Buffalocus, which is that flying chicken. There we go. So I'm gonna actually break that trap, throw some sauce on the ground here, like this. He's gonna get attracted to that sauce, and I'm gonna launch him that direction, like that. Bye. Ooh, not quite, but I think this soda is going to bail me out here. Maybe. Yes, cool. We need to extinguish him so we can catch him, and the Buffalocus is going to be a key piece of a side quest that we're going to be doing after we break through this area. But first, we're going to jump down here. We're going to grab some chocolate sauce, because one of the quests in this area that we need to accomplish is leading this black raspy through the maze, and black raspies love chocolate. Of course they do. While we're leading it through, I'm going to purposely stun and capture a couple of these Bugsnax. They're not technically necessary, but we have a side quest later on that looks specifically for a Bugsnax that's characteristics are aggressive and meaty. First, honestly, same. And then second, we have a lot of different Bugsnax that we could use that for, but these are Bugsnax that are directly in our way, preventing us from doing a specific quest. So might as well simultaneously get them out of the way while also utilizing them for the quest that we will need them to later. Got a little bit of good luck there. Black Raspy loves to get stuck on a bush that's in that area. He's going to use this one instead. That's okay. He'll come out eventually. All right, come on out. And then we're going to launch him up. That's part of the quest. Don't worry. No Bugsnax were harmed in the making of the speedrun. Grab some cheese sauce, and we should be good with all the quests that we need to do in this area now. Basically, the general way this game works is that all of these grumpuses, which are what these furry humanoid creatures are called. Oh, don't do this to me, please. Thank you. Okay. They're all spread out in all these various biomes of the game. We need them to return back in order to progress the story. We don't need to progress the story in a natural way in this category, but we need to progress it somewhat because not all of the side quests will unlock if we don't progress the story at least a little bit. So we're going to utilize a shortcut there to get on over to Boiling Bay, which is a new area that we have yet to see in the game. We're going to start right away with a tight cycle to try and capture this Noodler. Noodler loves cheese, so we're going, but Noodler is also on fire, so we have to figure out a way to extinguish the Noodler. Luckily, there's this Popsicle who gets very angry and extinguishes it for us. So we're going to do that. Now, we have a lot of RNG in this segment, so let's see how lucky we can get. So I'm going to throw a trap here. There is a red banopper, as you can see, flying through the air there. I need it to basically run into my tripwire at some point, would be really preferential. But I also need a Kokomite there, so I'm going to light that on fire while I'm waiting. Fortunately, it looks like Kokomite ruined my trap, so I'm going to have to reset up that trap. That's a bit of a bummer, but that's okay. We'll have to get him on the next one. We're going to get a catch, a Kokomite, or attempt to. Come here, come here, come here. There you are. Wow, absolute chaos. All right, there we go. Ooh. I only need one of them, but that's fine. Then we're going to set up this trap again. Please give me my red banopper. See, it's a bit RNG related because this red banopper hops between 3 trees. I stick the trap specifically between 2 trees, like that. But we're finally able to get it, and I'm going to light myself on fire for good measure because it makes me run a little bit faster. Cool. Now we're going to utilize all of these snacks that we just caught. Wow, please leave me alone. Okay. We're going to utilize all these snacks that we caught for our good friend Floofsy here.
Excellent. It is not
in order to progress the story just enough so that we can really break it wide open, get all of the side quests that we need to do, and then just basically blast through all the bosses as fast as we can. All right, so we got to turn every limb into a coconut there, and then a nice mixture of all of them on the last quest here. So, no, coconut, we're good. Shout out to the Agnos there, I really like that. It's styling. Okay, last thing we need to do in this area is we actually need to grab a little quest item that's a bit out of the way, but it's necessary for progressing a side quest line later. So we're going to grab it, and then we're actually going to warp on out of here. We do have fast travel in this game, so I actually do need to basically head right back to the main area, Snacksburg, but the game gets very confused when you go out of bounds. So right now my game's going to freeze for a few seconds, and basically this is the game freaking out, being like, all right, you're way farther than you're supposed to be, you didn't do any of these quests, we're going to bail you out and save this so that you're where you're supposed to be. But then we can, as soon as we get that big loading screen, the game is now caught up to where we are. So that's pretty good. Now, like I said, we are a journalist, so we need to be interviewing people to figure out their story. Basically, we don't need to interview everybody here, but we need to interview all of the key people that give us certain clues. So that we can progress the story far enough, and then also 1 or 2 extra people because we will need to. Where's the one I'm missing? Why did you leave town? There we go. 1 or 2 extra people because that will be important for side quests. Wambus is not one of the side quests we need to do, but we do need this specific clue, so we gotta get that done. Gotta hand on over to our buddy Gramble here on the right. Gramble with that nice little hat. I affectionately refer to Gramble as kind of the Bugsnax vegan. Okay, so the reason why I call him that is everyone here eats Bugsnax as like their main source of food. And Gramble's not really about that life. Gramble is more about like being friends with the Bugsnax and making a Bugsnax sanctuary, and I think that's really cool. Gramble's probably one of my favorite characters. We're gonna now interview Snorpy, and Snorpy is a scientist, kind of like an engineer of sorts, who also thinks the Grumpinati, which is like this game's version of the Illuminati, is following him. So a little paranoid, but you know, ain't we all? All right, so a couple more interviews here. Unfortunately, this is a mash fest for my hands. So this is the segment I always dread a little bit because it requires way more mashing than any other part of the game. But we're getting through it just fine. We're gonna do one more interview here with Triffany. Triffany is Wambus's wife. She's an archaeologist, and she is lovingly Midwestern. So if there's anybody out there from the Midwest states, you'll recognize her accent pretty easily.
It's a man.
She's going to give us a diary that we now have a key to that has another clue in it, which is why it's important that we do this now.
Oh, you betcha.
And then I did say one more interview with Triffany, but I totally lied because we have one other interview that happens right after this, but that is to start a side quest. So at least we're going to be progressing towards a boss fight here pretty soon. All right. All right, so we're gonna head here. Cromdo, by the way, the red one on the left, he's like the used car salesman of Grumpus's here. He's kind of a scammer, kind of a con artist type, so not super favorable, but you know, we love him anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so Cromdo is one of the side quest lines that we need to do in order to unlock one of our first boss fights, which is going to be the Matzah Supreme. You might be able to tell what kind of food the Matzah Supreme is based off of just in the name, but I'm not going to give it away until we get to the fight, so I think that's going to be way more fun. All right, he's going to have another quest for us available right away, and that has to do with the Buffalo Ghost we caught, so it all comes full circle. All right. After this quest, actually, we have a little swaggy trick. It doesn't save really much time at all, but if I ever nail it in a run, I feel good about myself, and I think that's equally important. All right, so here's a swaggy jump. Basically, at the top of this house, there's a map I need to grab off a table. I could just walk up the stairs like a normal person, but instead I'm going to try and jump and get it. Nope, I failed. So I'm going to walk of shame it and then get it like a normal person. Oh, well, I tried. If it saves time, it's like half a second, if it saves any time at all. All right, so now we're gonna make a strategic warp over here to Flavor Falls. I mentioned before, we need aggressive meaty Bugsnax for a specific quest, and we also need a snack called Sandipede for a specific quest. And fun fact, they also classify as aggressive and meaty. So we're gonna be capturing a few of these. And then we're gonna bounce. We're gonna get right back out. Sandipede being a sub sandwich that breaks apart into four pieces, you know, you'll have to see it. But we only need 3 for this. Mandatory cutscene here that we can get by. And then we need to talk to the fan favorite over here, Chanlo. Chanlo, our beloved, is the himbo of the group. A jock with a heart of gold. In a relationship with Snorpy, the engineer we talked to earlier. So you love to see it. Who did I miss? There we go. Why did you leave town? There we go. Perfect. So we got that interview done, and we're now finally done with interviews for a while, I promise. We do have 1 or 2 more in the run, but that is definitely one of the slower segments of this run. We're going to wake up Cromdo, and Cromdo's going to be like, time to go fight. And here comes boss fight number 1. By the way, because there's a little bit of downtime before the boss fight actually starts here, I mentioned up at the top, all bosses base game, so we're fighting all the bosses that are within the base game, not counting the DLC. There are 4 bosses that we need to fight to make this category achievable. Matzah Supreme, this is the first one. Mama Melon, Mega Maki, and then finally Daddy Cake Legs. And I didn't name it, but it's an interesting name to be sure. We'll cross the Daddy Cake Legs bridge when we get to it. But for the Matzah Supreme fight is a little bit RNG. There's not a ton we can do to speed up cycles here, but we're going to do something right near the beginning that's a little bit strange. It seems like it would be way slower, but it's an average faster. Basically, we're going to have a switch that comes out of the center of the ground here that's about to come up. And we need to explode it to trigger the boss fight. So we get access to another Bugsnax called the Bombino, which is a pizza roll. And that's also explosive. And basically, we need to use these pizza rolls to fling at the boss, for lack of a better term. And the problem is they start out on fire by default. So a lot of times you have to find a way to extinguish them and then use them as ammo. This one that they gave us for free does not have to be extinguished, obviously, but all the other ones that pop up do. So instead of hoping the Matzah Supreme, which is a giant moth pizza, as you can tell, instead of waiting for Matzah Supreme to try to extinguish these, I'm actually going to grab the very original one all the way back here and use that one. And that seems counterintuitive because it seems really slow, but I promise you, on average, it's faster. If I get really lucky, it's slower, but on average, it is definitely faster. We're gonna throw it on the trap here and then launch it. Kaboom. And then we cut the pizza. And we're gonna do that a total of 3 times. I'm gonna wait for this one, boom, grab it, and I'm gonna head on over to the next one. Now, I could chance it and try to fling one right now, but odds are it will move midair like that, so I'm glad I didn't fling it because that would have been a waste of time. But for this next phase, it'll go down right away, so that's pretty good. Cut him again. All right, which one's gonna be faster? Probably this one. Now, last phase is a bit more complicated. Because it's not as simple as me flinging a pizza roll with the trap I have in the middle anymore. Unfortunately, I need to instead use this giant middle cyclone and hope that it hits him like that, which was pretty good RNG, and then I could cut him down for the last phase. Voila, we got just a regular old slice of pizza. That's boss fight 1 down. All right. As part of the requirement, we always have to feed them to somebody, so we have to get it out. And then we're gonna not warp directly back to Snacksburg. We're gonna take one pit stop in Scorch Gorge here, because there's a Bugsnax that comes out only at night that we need to grab. Whenever we trigger this boss fight with Matzah Supreme that we just did, it always makes it dark by default. So we just wait for that as opposed to sleeping and resetting the clock manually because it's faster. Simple as that. So that's one fight down. We're gonna go back to our friend Chandlo, our beloved, who is the second boss fight that we're going to be gearing up for. Unfortunately, Chandlo has a mini game as a part of his quest line that is very difficult for me for some reason. I always struggle with it, so we'll see just how lucky we get. But first, we got to feed him some aggressive meaty Bugsnax. So we use those 2 Enchiritos from before, and then 1 of the Sandipedes we caught. Here's the mini game. Basically, we need to drop these weights on him as he runs by him, but for some reason I have the worst timing in the world and I can never do this effectively, but I'm trying my best, I promise. I'm always so bad at this, please. All right, that's 1. We need to do this 5 times. It gets easier the more weights are on because he starts slowing down, so that's easier at least.
Ooh, that's heavy, bro. More weight.
All right, I'm gonna take the slower path and walk around the building because our boy Philbo over there has a dialogue sequence that I don't want to trigger right this second. So here we are, though. We're actually going to head on over to our second boss fight, which is with Mama Melon. I'll let you see who Mama Melon is here in a second. But one interesting fact here. So I'm going to head up here. We have to wait for Chandlo to walk all the way around. He can't take the shortcuts like we are. So instead, I'm going to go out of bounds, kind of for fun. But also, there at least used to be a way where we could speed up this fight slightly by starting the boss fight where he's 1 hit down already. I have never really been able to pull it off because it's kind of difficult, and it depends on how this spike that I'm about to drop from the ground works. So it's a little easier said than done. Basically, we drop the spike, and we want to head on over to Mama Melon, who, as you might have guessed, is a giant watermelon. Push the spike in hopes that we hit Mama Melon, but the spikes never like move well. As you can see, it's very difficult. And then I think they might have also patched it because it seems like there's like an invisible wall here that I can't really get through. But it's okay. It doesn't really lose us any time, so it's not a big deal.
There it is.
Chandlo here.
This wasn't kidding. That snack is huge.
Yep, sure is
All right,
huge.
big boy.
Now,
Here comes the Chandlo
Mama Melon is a
Slam.
watermelon, as we can see, but the first part of that name is Mama, and she is a fierce, fierce, protective mama. So how we end up defeating her is the babies come out, we trap them, she charges, we drop a spike on her head, though that looked like it missed, so I don't think that's gonna count. That's okay though. We're gonna rinse repeat the section over here. So we're gonna wait for that to drop. Cool. Head on over. That one hit. That's what that's supposed to look like. So there you go. It can be a little finicky sometimes because the quickest thing we could do in this fight is to have it so that we just use all of the spires that are right next to each other, so like we go around in a circle. However, that makes it so that Mama Melon has really weird angles, and sometimes she'll come in at an angle where the spike won't hit her. So as opposed to that, I'm taking a little bit more of a safe way, which is to go to the pillars across from each other. Overall, a little bit slower, but it's definitely more consistent. We intentionally run into Mama Melon there to trigger the last phase where Chandlo is going to grab one of the babies. And it's the same thing. He's going to rush Chandlo. We drop a spike. End of story. That's boss fight 2 done.
Thanks, one.
All right, so we're going to feed that, and we're going to head on out.
I would ice bro.
Cool. We're going to warp back to Snacksburg, and we're going to make basically almost the entirety of the progress of our third boss fight that we're going to start here, which is Mega Maki. The way that we're going to do that is we're going to have one more interview. I know, it's a little slow, but that's okay. And then we're going to get rid of the rest of the Bugsnax we have in here. Actually, I'm going to trigger this now, too. We're going to have to hit this at some point anyway, so we're going to trigger it now because it's right next to where Wiggle is.
I know. So keep.
All right, cool. And then, yeah, we're gonna give Wiggle an interview here. Wiggle is a very interesting character. She is a famous musician that has a one-hit wonder in this world. So she's out here trying to like have inspiration strike for whatever her next song is gonna be. And she's having some difficulties that we're gonna try and help her out with.
Go and see for yourself. Now.
All right, so first, we're not only we're going to do the interview with her, but we're also going to do some of the quests as well. So first, she wants two centipedes, so we're going to feed her the other two that we have. That quest is now done.
I could, so in 2 weeks, needless to.
And she's going to have another one where she wants, you might have guessed it, a white sheepoof. And what do we already have? It's like I planned this.
I don't know. I know.
All right, so from here, we actually have to do a little walking, not so much fast traveling, because we're going into an area that we haven't done yet. This area is unlocked now because we went out of bounds and progressed the story past it, but we haven't been in this area yet. Sugar Pine Woods, and we're not going to be here for long because we're actually heading to the area even further past it, which is called Frosted Peak. Frosted Peak is basically what is intended to be the very last biome you access in this game, for the base game at least. And we don't need to do a ton there, but we do need to, again, progress the story long enough so that we can get all of the side quests that we need to get the boss fights ready. So, first thing we're going to do, because it's dark, we're going to grab this Mount Sodi, Mountain Dew, soda, Bugsnax, adorable. We're going to need that here in just a second. And then we're going to go meet our friend Eggabell, who is a doctor, but also like kind of an Indiana Jones-like character in a way. So kind of cool. Actually, Indiana Jones is also a doctor, so yeah, just Indiana Jones. But she's like a medical doctor, you know what I'm saying. All right, so basically, she's going to have 3 totems that we need to input a proper Bugsnax in to unlock this door. The Mount Sodi is one of them, and I'm going to grab the other 2 right now. We have a frozen Bugsnax and a flaming Bugsnax right here. I'm actually going to throw this trap here, aim it at the frozen Bugsnax, launch, papa. They extinguish each other. And there we go. Now we're out. That is a Stoodler and a chili nilly, if you're wondering, a flying ice cream sandwich, and a pot of stew.
Okay.
Sounds like a nice meal to me.
Well, there's some. I've almost.
All right.
Oh my.
So yeah, she requires a lot of items,
So good.
which is what we just achieved here. So there we go. And the 3 totems that we needed to, the bug statues rather, that we needed to fill in to progress the story just far enough.
Okay, no. The more I can't.
She covers the other 3, which is nice of her. Actually, I'm waiting for that. And I'm going to reload the save here. Reloading the save puts you at the entrance to the area that you last used. And the reason why I'm doing that is I need 1 Bugsnax here, and reloading the save puts it in a much more favorable position than where it would have been if I just ran and caught it myself. We need the Scoopy Banoopy, a giant banana split. We're going to need that. Scooby Banoopy is actually what we call a compound Bugsnax. It breaks apart into smaller Bugsnax after that timer that it has on its body goes down. But instead of waiting for that, we're going to take the whole thing, because we could use a piece or the whole thing, and catching the whole thing is faster. So we're going to catch the whole thing there. We're going to go talk to our friend Snorpy down here, but unfortunately, this is the wrapping up of Chandler's quest line there, so it's going to automatically black screen me to my own little house, and then I have to go right back over there and talk to them again. So a little bit of a bummer, but you know, it is what it is. Gonna head upstairs. There we are. Wake them up. They're all asleep right now, and they all have this waking up animation that it vary in length. And luckily enough for us, Snorpy I think is the fastest wake up animation, so it's always usually worth doing it. All right, so we have this mini game where we now need to light a bunch of these flares. You're meant to use a specific tool for that. I missed, didn't I? Nope. Okay, I'm gonna relight myself on fire. You're meant to use the tripwire for it. But if you light yourself on fire and then just run into them, that also works. So we do that for the first 3. And then the last 4, unfortunately, it's just faster to do it the way that is intended. So we're going to be doing that. We actually don't want to walk too far forward here, because Chandler has a dialogue that he wants to share with us, but we really don't want to hear it. So we're going to not walk too far forward. 1 more here, and then we are golden. Cool. And then that is that mini game done.
Excellent. Yes, you let me pull out.
Snorpy is the quest line that we're going to do for our 4th and final boss, but that's going to come a little bit later. We're just preempting that a little bit. We're going to again walk around the house to avoid that cutscene, and then go talk to our good friend Wiggle again. Now you might be wondering, why did I go back out and then back in to talk to Wiggle when I could have just done it all at once? For some reason, there are some quests that will not activate until you leave an area and come back into it, or it triggers some kind of loading zone of some sort. And this quest that gets me over to the boss fight would not trigger unless I had left and came back. So I decided to leave, do some stuff I would need to do anyway, and then come back. And now this quest is ready for us to go. You're about to see the full sheer power that Wiggle brings in terms of her musical talent. I can tell you that the voice actor who plays Wiggle probably did not get paid enough, because they went so hard.
Another empty venue.
You're going to see it here in just a second.
If you're out there, you won't be able to resist my siren song.
Here it comes.
Oh, please. Ancient Bugsnax, can you hear me? Will you show yourself if you hear how much I need you? Will you show yourself if you hear my cry? I need you. I got to have you. Oh, in my mouth.
Unfortunate phrasing on the end, but that song was really good.
language, darling.
Imagine being a voice actress and then just going this hard.
My mouth is your destination, and wiggle is your destiny.
All of this, by the way, is a song that summons our third boss fight, which is the Mega Maki. Again, you might have been able to glean from the name what it is. It's a giant sushi serpent. So, interesting fight Mega Maki brings here. First, it stays on the ground, which is nice for us. So I'm going to throw that tripwire there, and I'm also going to scan its head. This gives me the trajectory that it plans on taking, which is going to make planning out my traps a little bit easier. It explodes, and then we got to capture all these little pieces. All right, cool. So now it's gearing up for phase 2. Phase 2, it starts going through the air, which is definitely different. I'm gonna put a trap right here. Nope, never mind, I'm not gonna put it there because it ruined my life. I'm gonna try and put a trap here. Nope, not gonna get it in time because it ruined my life. All right, so we're going to wait until some of these more fortunate pillars come up. This is a pretty good one actually right here. We're gonna throw it right here. Yeah, unfortunately, if you don't act just quick enough, it will start throwing. And forgive me, I'm not a sushi eater because I'm not big on seafood. Those orange egg ball things, you know what I'm talking about? It starts throwing those, right? So those pillars get destroyed by those. We don't want to stand anywhere next to where you want to throw your trap or else it will ruin the pillars. It flew over it? Unreasonable. Okay, so we're going to instead set it up on this side, hopefully. Actually, there's no pillars over here, so I can't set it up on this side. Nope, that's not gonna work. It's really trolling me. Okay. Let's try this again. Yes, okay, this is favorable. Let's see. That should be fine. Don't ruin my pillars, don't ruin my trap, don't ruin my trap, don't ruin my trap. Yay, there we go. No, get back here. All right, one more phase and then we're out. I'm gonna try and set up on this one in hopes that I can set up fast enough and then just get so that it doesn't ruin my trap. No, 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 no. Yes. Yes, we're good. Whew. So again, not standing anywhere near where my trap is because I don't want it to be ruined. Okay. One. And of course, I'm out of inventory space now, so we have to make room for all these mini sushi rolls. You're over here hitting your own babies. What are you doing? Weirdly favorable because also the Mega Maki ended right next to Wiggle. So there we go. Boss 3 down. Little sloppy, unfortunately, but boss 3 is indeed down. All right, cool. Whoops, the wrong one. We're going to warp back to Snacksburg. We're going to, unfortunately, do a story-intended, basically, cutscene that is not really skippable. We have to do it to progress the story far enough so that Snorpy's last side quest will trigger. So we're going to talk to our friend Philbo here. I affectionately refer to this part as the walking simulator because he gives us an automatic warp to Frosted Peak, which is good because that's where the last boss is as well. But we lose the ability to run here for a second. We just have to slow walk as they head on over to this door that's near the bottom where we met with Eggabell before. So I will say, since we have a moment here as well, I talked a little bit about how accessible this game is as a speedrun, and since we are at a live event here where we are on the speedrun stage, I'd be remiss to not mention our speedrunning resources for this game. So if you like Bugsnax, you happen to play it casually, and you wanted to extend that gameplay experience, I suggest you all come over to speedrun.com/Bugsnax. That will get you set up with our Discord server invite, as well as a number of resources that you could use to run really any of the categories. Any 20% is really, really short. It's like 15 minutes.
We need to stand here.
So
here,
15 to
and
20 minutes roughly, and that's at the world record level. So it's very, very fast. We also have, 100% categories where we catch all the Bugsnax, all bosses. This is a really cool category that features a blend of glitches as well as cool boss fights that you might not see normally. Come on over. We'll help you out. Friendliest group of speedrunners out there. So feel free to come and check us out. And that was just about the perfect amount of time to distract you from the fact that we were walking slowly. So
Thank you.
we're now going to be able to warp back to Snaxburg, go talk to Snorpy, and get on with the last boss fight of the run. All right, so heading back up here. Wake up, please wake up, thank you.
I'm afraid, but the good news, the bad news, be on your turn.
For some reason, this is like the only boss fight that doesn't warp you automatically. I don't really know why, but we luckily have fast travel, so that makes this exponentially easier. Now, this boss is called Daddy Cake Legs, and it's not as questionable sounding of a name as you might think. Daddy Cake Legs is a giant cake that is modeled after a daddy long leg spider. So it has really long legs and stuff like that. It's also the only boss fight that's very exploitable, so we'll see if I'm able to do that. I'm gonna try it first, and then I'll mention what it is that I'm doing. Oof, okay, close. So all three phases of the Daddy Cake Legs fight that we're going to be doing here are exploitable. Basically, the general idea is that Daddy Cake Legs has a candle on each side of its body. You need to light that candle on fire in order to progress through the phases. The intention of that is to use your tripwire and use a bunch of pillars and stationary stuff in order to make that a reality. Instead, I like lighting myself on fire and then running into the candles myself. I was able to get one again, but not the full set there. That's okay. We'll be able to just really quickly do that. Just making sure he's running down. Yep, all right, so that's phase 2. And phase 3 is the easiest, but I'm gonna jinx myself, so I'm gonna knock on some wood here. Phase 3 is the easiest in the way that instead of having 2 candles, phase 3 only has 1 candle on the top of its head. So it's a little bit easier to light yourself on fire, stay on top of its head, and then light that wick. The last time I said it's really easy, though, I failed it. So let's see how it goes. I think I'm gonna fail it, y'all. I think I'm gonna fail it. I failed it. All right, that's fine. I'm never saying that's easy again. That's an 0 for 2 on me now. I'm gonna scan it just to be safe, but I think that's good. There we go. Still a pretty quick fight. All right, where is Snorpy? Where is he? Oh, there he is. All right, that's the last boss fight of the run, done. However, it would not be a true speedrun if we didn't also finish the game, right? So let's go finish the game, shall we? So we're meant to unlock this door through natural means by utilizing clues and blah, blah, blah. We don't got time for that. So I'm gonna launch myself up here and open this tripwire, place it just so, and clip through the door. Exponentially faster than the rest of the quest. We are now about 98% through the story. So we have a section here that's called the Under-snax. Now, I always bring this up every time I do a run of Bugsnax of any kind. When this game first came out in 2020, it was featured on IGN's Devs React to Speedrun series, which, if you're unfamiliar, it's basically the developers of a specific game will watch back a speedrun of it and comment over it. They did it. This game was pretty exploitable right out of the gate. So they did one in November 2020, and they alluded to at some point in this Under-snax area, there is another skip that we haven't found. Okay. that was November 2020, and we still haven't found it. What we have discovered is that everything around this whole section, like outside of the walls and outside of the ceiling and stuff like that, is a giant loading zone. So if we could find a way so that we could break through the wall or the ceiling or something, then great, because then we would just be automatically in the loading zone that we need to be in. However, what makes that difficult is the fact that we cannot run and we have no access to our tools. So I can't launch myself, I can't run into a wall repeatedly, I can't do anything like that. I'm just at the whim of walking slowly or just kind of walking up against the wall, I guess. And surprise, none of that works. So if you're a glitch hunter out there or somebody who likes finding tricks out of bounds and skips like that, might I suggest Bugsnax as your next challenge, because I would love to save a free 2 minutes here.
So now no.
This is the last interview, quote unquote, that we do in the game as well, by the way. It's also just a little bit of a match fest. And then after the actually, one little trick that is a weird exploit that you can do here. As this cutscene finishes, if you mash the action/talk button, which is different depending on what console you play on, it'll trigger a dialogue with Agabel here. And for some reason, if you trigger that dialogue, the section speeds up loading by like 2 or 3 seconds. I don't know why. I don't know why it works that way, but it sure does work that way. All right. And now what we are in the section of the game that we in the community affectionately refer to as the gauntlet, similar to the speedrunning gauntlet over here to my right, except a little bit different. Basically, we're going to have a series of 6 mini challenges that utilize all the tools that we definitely unlocked the right way, the tools that we use in the game. A little late on that jump, that's fine. Instead of them being the traps that we unlocked to and got familiar with throughout the whole game, it's a little different in the way that these traps are no longer set to capture Bugsnax or trap them. They're intended to defeat them. And I won't really go into why if you haven't played this game casually. I highly suggest you do, because it's a really good story and with a really, really cool bunch of characters. So definitely check it out. But yeah, we are setting our phasers from stun to kill now, if you get my meaning. Now, the gauntlet is very interesting because there are a lot of areas here that we can actually go out of bounds, but none of them are important because no loading zone will activate until you complete the mini game before it. So that's a little unfortunate, which means we're going to have to play all of these mini challenges. Not the end of the world, though. We have exploits for a vast majority of them, such as this one, which is we destroy all the strappies as fast as we can and preemptively jump during the cutscene, so we're right next to the second one here. Now, this one has our snack grappler that we're using to grab stuff from a distance the whole game. This one, instead of the grappler, it now has a boxing glove at the end of it, so we're out here doing fisticuffs. It means for us to take these Bugsnax on head on, but if you come at the side, you can defeat them all in one punch. You can call me One Punch Man, that's fine. Then we're gonna very quickly step into a loading area, which, oh, I missed that one, that's fine. There we go. That triggers those areas. Then we're gonna get behind these and hit these Bugsnax forward. The reason why we're doing that is because, there we go, because what you're meant to do is you're supposed to like just stare at them at where they come out of that door and then hit them backwards. That's a praying picantus, which is again another compound Bugsnax, a Bugsnax that explodes into smaller ones. And instead of doing that, we hit them backwards towards Sheldon and Floofty, because if they do that and then they explode, then Sheldon and Floofty are actually able to help us out with defeating those by eating them. So that makes that section exponentially faster by, I would say, a solid 20 to 30 seconds at least. This minigame, unfortunately, there's nothing we could do to speed up. The spawns of the Bugsnax at the top of this mountain thing are all on a timer, so even if I miss defeating them, it wouldn't do anything. But as I always say, pressing buttons is more fun than not pressing buttons, so I'm going to press the buttons. But yeah, the only thing that I could do to possibly slow this section down is taking as long as possible on the last phase. The last round of Bugsnax that spawns. But I'm not going to do that, so don't worry. I'm out here trying to speedrun, not, the opposite of speedrun.
Don't trip!
All right, so here's the last phase here. I'm going to set up the trap, wait for them to turn around, launch, and then I'm actually gonna take a running jump back towards this like bush in hopes that I get trapped in those wood here. Not quite, that's fine though. Basically, I'm trying to trap myself in those 2 pieces of wood there so that I'm infinitely closer to the next challenge during the cutscene. Now this next section, barrels, it requires a little bit of focus from me, so don't mind if I go a little quiet here, and then I'll kind of explain what it is that we're doing afterwards. It requires kind of precise, not only timing, but location where I'm putting this pointer. All right, few more waves here.
Here, take this. Another one.
All right, 2 more waves. Yeah, 2 more waves. 3 more waves? 2 more waves. We'll find out. Now 2 more waves. Last wave. This is the only wave we can't defeat with 1 barrel. But we can defeat it with 2 if we get good timing. Oh, perfect. Whew. That's a relief. Okay, so let me explain exactly what happens there. So that mini game is actually not hard to do casually. As you can see, we launch barrels at Bugsnax. The launch pad has an automatic seeking to it. However, it's infinitely slower to launch 1 barrel to defeat 1 Bugsnax as it is to launch 1 barrel and defeat the whole wave of Bugsnax. So we very carefully will place our pointer on a specific location and then launch the barrels at specific times so that all of the Bugsnax within the wave are crammed together and the barrel defeats them all at once due to the splash damage. The only wave we can't do that on is the last wave because it has 5 Bugsnax. They never get close enough together, all 5, to be able to defeat in 1 barrel. But if we time it very carefully, we can get the middle 3 and then let the last 2 converge on each other in the middle and get that exact perfect fight that we just got. So I'm glad that went so well. This mini game is very simple, which is just we have a spiky rolly ball. All of the spawns for these Bugsnax are set, so I know where they're gonna be. I don't have to worry about it. Nothing really to do to exploit this, unfortunately. Last bit here. Here we go. All right. And then we are on our last gauntlet challenge here, which uses our sauce slinger, that slingshot that shoots sauce. We're just gonna have access to a sauce that's not in the game normally, which is called the special sauce.
It's no use, Randy.
And
Must have learned a few things since
this
the
section
school
is
days.
very slightly exploitable, not fully, but basically what happens is the special sauce is so powerful that it makes the Bugsnax run into each other and they explode. We're gonna be very careful with where we place sauces so that we put it so that the Bugsnax don't have the least amount of distance possible to travel.
Just a matter of life and death.
Also,
is
for
all.
some reason, this is the only cut, like, dialogue in the gauntlet section that you can't skip. I don't really know why, but you can't skip it. So we're gonna put in that sauce there specifically, and I'm gonna preempt some sauce right there. Stand to the side here. This happens sometimes where they get bugged inside of each other like this. Come on, there we go. Yeah, nothing you can really do to avoid that. Sometimes they just kind of spawn collectively on top of each other. Unwritten rule in Bugsnax speedrunning, though, your run doesn't count unless you hit Wambus with some sauce like that. I don't know. I'm only the mod of the leaderboard. I don't make the rules. Anyways, so we are just about done with the speedrun, believe it or not. Time is coming up probably in about a minute or so. We just have this little cutscene that gets us off the island and a couple more cutscenes at the end. In order to keep things expedited and moving, I'm going to use this opportunity to kind of start doing my outros and stuff now. If you enjoyed this run, my name is Conception. I occasionally stream on my channel, twitch.tv/Conception. If you like Bugsnax runs or other quirky runs or Pokemon games and stuff like that. If you are somebody who, like me, whose favorite block of a mainline GDQ event happens to be the awful or the silly block, boy, do I have the show for you on the GDQ hotfix, which is called Awfully Silly. That's every other Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And basically, we feature the worst games you can think of, the silliest games you can think of, all of those awful movie tie-ins or show tie-ins that you might have grew up with, things of that nature, all right within a 3-hour primetime slot. So come on by and check that out sometime. Another unwritten rule of Bugsnax speedrunning, by the way, is that you have to hit Philbo with the shell at the end. Again, I don't make the rules, I'm just the moderator.
All right.
Yeah, I intentionally took that dialogue a little slower here. You can actually ruin your entire run right there by saying, no, I think we should go back, and then you have to do the entire gauntlet section again. We don't want to do that. All right, time is coming up, by the way.
Don't worry, you're fine. This awesome.
And time. Pardon me for 1 second while I go on speedrun.com because I think, y'all, we just got a new world record. I'm just gonna check that real quick because I'm not entirely sure. Yes, previous world record was 54:25. We now have 54:05. Yes. So you all witnessed Bugsnax speedrunning history. I hope you're happy. It's really not that big of a deal. I'm just kidding. But yes, as I said, my name is Conception. Feel free to check me out, and feel free to come on by speedrun.com/Bugsnax if you're interested in learning this game, or come check out Awfully Silly every other Monday on the GDQ Twitch channel as a part of that hotfix content that we do every week between events. My name is Conception. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you all around on the floor.